Okay, hi everyone, welcome. So as you can see, I am in a hotel room I'm in San Francisco, California. All cleared to return to China in the morning. So I will be tomorrow evening in China time. I should be in Shanghai on the 25th at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So then we will have class at our normal time on Tuesday morning, which will also be Tuesday morning for me for the first time. So everything's going well. Sorry about yesterday. Got had a little snafu with the medical clearance, and so had to cancel class. But I'm going to give you this lecture today that I wanted all you to watch, and we're just going to kind of quickly go over some basic stuff in Photoshop so that we can brand our slides for our final presentation. All right, so our slides are a big deal for the final presentation, like I talked about. We want to make sure that everything is laid out with intent and that it's done well and that it is consistent. And consistency is going to rely on a few factors that we'll talk about today. All right, and that's color, design, layout, and branding. Okay, each one of you has an organization that you are representing, of which I will be the CEO of when we do our boardroom, and your fellow classmates will also be part of the executive board of that. Now, every organization in the world has branding. Branding is, like we talked about, it is the very first thing that you recognize when you see a brand or a company or an organization, right? If you're dealing with a charity or a government or something, or an NGO. But regardless, we know that companies and countries and everything else have colors that are dominant, right? Obviously, we know China has red and yellow. So if you're pretending to be the Chinese government, these are probably some of the background colors and secondary colors that we can use to keep consistency throughout. Also, China has a flag, right, which is essentially China's logo, right? Flags are kind of like the logos of companies. And so that would be something that you would incorporate in there, right? But for those of you dealing with organizations and companies, let's take, for example, Coca-Cola, like we have all semester. Coca-Cola has red, right? They have white and silver, particularly silver if you're talking about Diet Coke, or black if you're talking about Coke Pepsi or Coke Max or something like that, or whatever the other products are. And so they also have a logo, right? The Coca-Cola logo. So I'm going to share my screen with you now, and I'm going to show you what we can do to use some of these materials, okay? So let's say that we're looking at Coca-Cola, okay? So I can just go ahead and put in Coke into a Google search, and I can go to images, and here's lots and lots of Coca-Cola, right? Particularly this logo here, which is actually their full logo, all right? And if you look, this full logo, if we click on it, it's probably going to be hard. It's going to want you to buy it. Well, luckily for all of you, I'm going to show you how to kind of get around these things, okay? So we can open this file up, and then we can right click and copy this image, okay, as is. And then if we go to Adobe Photoshop, and this is what happens, this is what it looks like when you open up Photoshop. You can create a new document. Here's an 8.5 by 11 at 150 DPI. Or you could even set this. Da, 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 da. You could find the exact size of a slide in the slideshow that you're going to be presenting in PowerPoint, and it'll give you the diameter of the pixels or the dots. It'll give you the diameters and dimensions, so you can put those in there along with the resolution. So you could actually put those in um, and start your assignment that way. So if you wanted to do something like that, you could. Let's say that we did, and it came out to 7 by 7 at 300 DPI. So you could use this to design your slides in here and then import them into Adobe or into PowerPoint if you would like, or you can just design them in PowerPoint. But I'm going to show you how to use a little bit of Photoshop as essentially a template or a desktop that you can work on. So I'm going to just get my selection tool. And now that I have a blank background, I'm just going to hit uh, paste. And you'll notice, or Control V is what I did there. I also could have right-clicked. Perhaps not, but yeah. So just paste that in there. And then once I have it pasted in there, now I know I have a logo that I can use, right? So if you want to steal whatever you want off the internet, we're not publishing this, so we don't have to worry about copyright, okay? And that's why these websites make it hard for you to grab these images. But if you do have Adobe Photoshop, you can easily get around this by simply copying the image and then pasting it to a new document that's already established in Photoshop, like I've just done. So now let's go back and look at a little bit closer at Coca-Cola. Let's go to their website. All right. So now we see that they do have their white and red branding. That is a part of their theme. They also have a lot of large text, or a lot of large images, not text, but they do have large text as well. But they have big images, and these are moving images, obviously, a little movie commercial of sorts, right? This all kind of lends to that PechaKucha style that I asked you to take a look at and understand. PechaKucha uses, you want to fill up the entirety of the slide that you're designing with some really strong images to make a good statement, right? Together taste better is what they're selling here with Coca-Cola. And here we have multiple multi-ethnic families, white families, Asian families, black families, right, enjoying Coca-Cola together. And so the messaging here is pretty clear, right? Coca-Cola is for everybody. Very simple. Together taste better, right? Isn't that the nice little slogan that they've created for this particular campaign that they're doing? Okay. What we can also see here is some fonts, right? And so you can use, we're going to copy this font here, and then I'm going to go back into Photoshop, and I'm going to go to my text button, and I'm going to click, and then I'm going to Control V, and I'm going to paste. Oh, and look at that. I just copied the closest font that we have as stock, and that's totally fine. You don't need to be exact. And now let's say I wanted to make this Coca-Cola red. I would click on this color button, and then I could click, see this little dauber that shows up as my pointer? This dauber allows me to select any color I touch as the dominant color. And so now that we have the Coke red, we want to select Coke red. And probably a good idea that our other color is just the white background of Coca-Cola, right? So now I can change the color of my Coca-Cola font to be red, all right? And I was able to do that in Photoshop. So then you can actually take this as a text document, and you could copy this text, or you could even cut it out if you wanted to, and then you could paste it directly into your slideshow presentation, and then you would have the font that you want to keep with the brand that's already been established. Now, fancy fonts are wonderful for branding and to letting us know that it's the brand, but sometimes they can be difficult for just getting, they're too convoluted or too fancy to just get good information out. So we always want to be looking for a secondary text that maybe the brand uses that gives us a little bit more information that they use, right? So obviously for this, here is this smaller font that they're using, that they are choosing to use. And it's not going to let me select it because it's a clickable link, unfortunately. Oops. But here we go. We can just select, this is the same font that they're using here. We could select something from here. Again, Control C or Command C to copy. Go back into our Photoshop workspace and just click again on the background and then Control V. Now, this time it's given us the same font, only it's bold, right? So that is the same font as we previously had. So then we could switch it from bold to light. And we'll find that it gives us a very, very thin version of that. But I think what we want is regular. Boom. And look at that. Now we have a font that matches the font that our actual corporation or charity or whomever else is actually using, right? Okay, so the other part of this is that you're allowed to be as creative as you want to. For this is a campaign. Maybe some of you have a joint venture with another company. Maybe some of you have a new product. Whatever the focus is, you could have a brand all for that campaign, right? If you look down here on the website, that's essentially what these are, right? This is a brand that's under Coca-Cola, but it's a joint venture. Well, it's not a joint venture. It's a new product that they have, right? Coca-Cola cherry vanilla zero sugar, right? Whenever we have the zero sugar stuff, they tend to put up the black coloring. So we want to make sure that we do that as well. All right. Hold on one second. Hello. So I'm actually recording right now. And yeah. So I will be done teaching. I'm recording a couple of videos. So it'll only take about another half hour. And then I can give you a call. All right. Thank you. All right, everybody, sorry about that. That was Enoch, the economics professor who's in the next room, who's coming back with me, just checking to see if I had started teaching yet, which obviously I had. So I apologize for the interruption. Enoch says hi. All right. So this is the campaign's brand, okay? And you notice they have their own font. They have a couple additional colors that have been added, right? And this cream for the vanilla, this beautiful kind of deep purpley red for the cherry, and then the black with the white to really stand out that it has zero sugar, right? And so this brand has a few elements to it, right? It has the Coca-Cola, the traditional logo. It has a new campaign logo, which is this cherry vanilla swirl, beautiful little design at the bottom. And then it has a couple new brand markings with the zero sugar, which is a trademarked, logo that they have here, and the cherry vanilla as well. All of these are the campaign's total look or feel or design, right? So we would want to incorporate as many of those elements as possible if that was the product that we were talking about. If you have something that is new that you are kind of introducing to the market, right? Then you're welcome to come up with something on your own. I just ask that you brand all of your slides so that it looks uniform throughout, okay? And so let's go to our PowerPoint presentation. I'm just going to open up PowerPoint now. All right. And if you like some of these templates, that's great. You can use them if you would like, but for this, it's probably better to just kind of start with a blank. And what you could do to make life a little bit easier on yourself, we'll get a blank presentation here. Okay. And then I'm going to want to start off with probably my kind of designated color if I was doing Coca-Cola. So maybe that red Coca-Cola. So I can bring my Coca-Cola logo, which is currently layer 1. If I look at my layers, it'll show me that there are several things on here, including 2 texts and what they say. And then this layer here is the logo. And again, I'm going to copy, Control-C, and then I'm going to come back over to PowerPoint. And I'm going to delete these boxes that they gave me to use for my template. All right. Let's see. It's not going to let us paste it right in there. Let's see if we can do something trickier here. So again, because of copyright, programs don't allow you often to just take any image you want and drop it in there. But if you use Photoshop, you can work around it like we just did. So all I did is I just dragged from Photoshop the logo onto my template here. And if I was doing a Coca-Cola presentation about a new Coke product or something that Coke was working on, this would be a great way to brand my slides. And the white would be perfectly fine. But let's say that we don't necessarily want the white and we want a different color background. And we don't want to design our slides in Photoshop, but we want to do everything in, you have to use maybe Photoshop a little bit to get some of these images. There's some other ways you can do it. You're welcome to find any workaround you would like. And remember, steal anything you want without fear of copyright infringement, because we're not going to publish any of these, all right? So now, if I wanted to change the background of my slide, I could just go and select Insert. And I could go to shapes, and I could select the rectangle shape, and then just go to the corner. And then I could drop it in there, and you'll see, voila. Now I've put this color, this blue color, in the background. But what if I don't want blue? All right. I can go to my different colors that I have here, and I can even go to more fill colors. And then I can click on this, or I can click on the dauber here, and that is going to allow me to go anywhere I want on the page. And I'm going to go back over to Photoshop. See how the colors are changing, right? I could even click on my face to get skin color if I wanted to. But what we want is this Coca-Cola red. So I'm going to click OK, and boom, look at that. OK. Voila. Now I have the actual picture, or the actual color of Coca-Cola red. And since this is going to be the background, I can right click and I can say send to the back. Boom. And then look at that. Now our Coca-Cola logo is back on top. So now I've got a wonderfully branded slide. And if I'm going to keep in, kind of the branding style and colors that I have, maybe what I want to do next is to add another shape. And so I go to Insert and go to Shape. Let's add a rectangle at the top here that can be our title slide or something. All right. Now, as you notice, it keeps defaulting to this color that is blue, right? But we also have some recent colors, and we can click here again for more fill colors, and we can click and find a different color if we would like, again, like we did, or oops, we can change it. So I want this to be white. Now look when I click off of this. Ooh, okay. You'll notice that it's not just white, it has an outline. All right. So if I don't want the outline around my, it has a black outline. See that little black line right there, right? It doesn't allow it to blend smoothly. So instead, I want to shape outline, which is underneath home. Sorry, I apologize for taking a little long. And now I'm just going to click, boom, no outline. Ooh, doesn't that look much nicer? And now I can adjust this. Maybe I want it to be flush with the top of my logo so it comes off like this. And then I could just simply add a text box, again, from my home tab, which is right here. And I want to fill up this box pretty evenly with text, right? So I can say Coke branding, or because we already had that Coke text once before, I can go back over to here and I can copy this font that we had, and then I can paste it straight into here. Ooh, look at that. All right. Now I can change this color to whatever I want. And if you're doing a campaign, this is the main company's logo and colors. So this would be a good area where you could introduce your secondary color or your secondary branding color, which would be for your campaign. Oops. So I'm going to type campaign slogan here. All right. And if I want to, I can highlight it and then I can change the font to whatever I want. Let's change the typewriter. I like that one. And then I'm just going to click this button here until I get it to be about the size that I want. Okay. So now I've got a brand, and if you want to move it around so that it's centered in the middle of the box, it'll give you some guides. And look at that. So now I've opened up, I've created a very easy background branding for the campaign that I have. Now, this is pretty simple. I would hope that maybe you guys put a little bit more effort and design into this, but there's a few elements that really do help make slideshows look pretty nice. And so again, if we go to Insert We take our shapes. We could do, let's say we do a circle this time, and I could have my circle expand beyond my viewable area, and then I want to make this white as well. And again, I want to get rid of that background or the border on it, so I'm going to click on the shape outline and then go to no outline. Once you've done that once, you can just click on shape outline and it'll automatically take it off. All right, so now we see here that this is actually where the slide ends. So you just kind of want to stick it in the corner. Now, when I look at it in a full slideshow, this is what I'll get. So if I have a secondary campaign logo or a fun fact or something I wanted to put in here, that looks really nice, right? So that's a very easy, just kind of way to give you a little bit more design elements that you can add in there. And remember, shapes are also a part of our brand, right? So if we're talking about something like, I don't know, that's soft or, something that's interesting or whatever, we have shapes that kind of go with certain emotions and feels. And so that's always nice. Something else that we can do that makes your slideshow presentation, just kind of makes it a little bit more professional looking. Again, I'm going to select my rectangle tool. And I'm just going to make a thin line this time. I'm going to fill it in white. I'm going to go and I'm going to take off my outline of it. I'm just going to put it right here. And I'm going to move it down a little bit to the bottom of the page. So now I can move it to the flush to the edge. So now I kind of have a bottom border, and you could do this if you want to select this as well and then hit Command D or Control D. It'll duplicate that exact line that you have there, and then I can click it and rotate it, right? Let's rotate it 100, 270 degrees so that it's vertical. And then I could put it here. And again, I have a nice little border that kind of pulls everything in, right? And just makes it look a little bit more professional. And this kind of looks like a sticker, right? Maybe you have your logo, your secondary logo or something like that. You don't have to have one. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. Don't worry, you're not going to get bonus points for creating a secondary logo. But the nicer your slides look and the more truly professional they look and they're designed, the happier I am and the happier you'll be because the better your grade will be. So really do put a lot of time into the consideration about what it is that you're doing. And again, for getting all of the stuff that you want from the internet, just create a blank document of any size in Photoshop and you can start pouring these things in here, all right? Something else that you could do, if you wanted to create the slides from scratch in Photoshop, you could create your background image, which is just that red rectangle that we created, right? And you can Control C, copy that, and you can come into Photoshop. And you can paste it. And now what you have here is a vector. It's a smart image, right? So this is a little bit different, but don't worry. But what you really have is you actually have the proportions of the size of the slide. So what you could do now is you could crop this toolbox that we created. Oops, we want to clear the proportions so that they are not constrained, so we can make them whatever size we want. And I could crop this image, the whole thing, to be the exact size of my slide. Like so. And now I actually have something that's the same size as the slide, right? Now, I did crop part of this logo off, so you'll see when I bring it to the front that it's been chopped off, right? So make sure anything you want is actually on the surface before you crop, or you're going to get it chopped off like that, okay? All right, so if you wanted to do that, you could. Now you would have a background that is the exact same size as your slideshow presentation, and you could use this as your template and create everything you needed there. And if you see here, it's a roughly 4 inches by 7 inches is about the diameter of a slide. And you would want that at 150 or 300 DPI. 300 is going to make your slideshow much slower. So I would keep it at 150 DPI. All right. And then you can just design everything here. And then when you're done, you want to go to your layers, which is right here. Sometimes they'll be off on the side here. And then you want to flatten the image. All right. This turns it into a JPEG. And now I still have this white border, so I'm going to fill it all completely in by hitting Option Delete. And that's going to fill in this entire background with the red color here that I wanted. If I hit Command Delete, it'll make it the background color, which is white. But I want it to be the foreground color. So I'm going to hit Option or Shift Delete if you're on a PC. Okay, and that's going to fill in that background color to what I want. The other thing that you could do is if it's white, you can always fill in a background using the paint bucket, which is right here. Boom, paint bucket, and just click, boom, it'll paint the whole background. So now you've got a slide, a totally blank slide, that's the color that you want, that you could work from here instead if you don't want to have a little workshop in Photoshop and bring things over into your slideshow presentation. I will say that if you can do everything as much as you can in PowerPoint, it makes the PowerPoint tend to come out much, much better, okay? So, but don't worry, I don't imagine there will be a problem. The only thing that you want to be careful of in anything that you do, and this pertains to finding these images as well, right? When you start to do your search for things, so let's say Coke, oops, that went to Coke.com. Let's go back to our Coke search here, right? And let's go to images like we did. And then we have this bottle of Coca-Cola, and I'm going to click on it. See if I can find that image. That's a pain in the butt. So I'm just going to right click on this image and see if I can steal it. Yep, copy image. I can. I'm going to go into Photoshop. Now, I'm going to paste this into Photoshop. All right, and you can see it's very, very large. Oops. You can see it's a very large image, right? So that's good. That's what we want. We want big images so that they don't do what we call interpolation, all right, which I'll show you what that is in a second, okay? So I'm going to actually shrink this down, make it pretty small, all right? So now I've got this tiny little bottle of Coca-Cola, barely recognizable. And I'm going to drag this image. I'm holding click, and I've just dragged my mouse over PowerPoint, which opened it up. Now I'm in PowerPoint, and I'm going to let go. And here's my tiny little image. Now watch this. Watch what happens when I blow this up big. Ooh, it looks like it's made out of pixels or Legos or something, right? And if I blow it up real big, it gets even harder to see. This is what we call interpolation. This is bad, okay? I don't want logos and images, particularly logos and branding, any part of the brand element to look like this. So you need to make sure that you can actually find high resolution images of what you need. And to find high resolution images, let's go to Bing, because I think all of you have access to Bing rather than Google. And here's Bing's image search button, right? And I'm going to put in Coke. It's going to give me a whole bunch of results, right? But I want to filter my results, and I want to filter them by image size, and I want to select large. Now it's only going to give me large images. And when I have a large image, then I can usually copy it and paste it and get an actual good, clear looking image as opposed to just a thumbnail. Okay. All right. So that's just the basics understanding of how to get all the elements you might need to do a little bit of slide design. I hope that this was helpful. The consistency in your design really makes it look very, very professional. So do try to have no blank slides at all, minimize the amount of text as possible, and give me as much data and information. And remember, whatever you're talking about should pertain to the slide that you're on. So your slides are going to need to match your speech. So you have to do your speech first. You have to get it all down to practice, and then you can begin to build out your slides, okay? If you have questions, comments, or concerns, I'll be available today for a couple hours if you need it. But if you don't show up in the first hour, I won't be there for the second hour. So, but if we need to, we can extend it by 2 hours at starting at 8 a.m. this morning, 5 p.m. or 4 p.m. local time here in about a half hour from now. Okay, so I'll be available starting at 8 p.m. To 9 p.m. And if we need more time to that, I can be available for another hour after that. But if I don't see anybody prior to then, I'm going to go ahead and log off after an hour. Okay. All right. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, reach out. I'm also happy to meet with you. I will be flying all day tomorrow and unavailable completely for the entirety of the day. But I will send out an announcement once I've gotten in registered and I'm in my hotel room in Shanghai. And then I'm stuck in a hotel room for 2 weeks with nothing to do. So you're more than welcome. Well, not nothing to do, but nowhere to go anyway. So you're welcome to have an appointment with me so that we can go over any questions or any other concerns that you may have. All right? Okay. Questions, comments, or concerns, as always, reach out. Otherwise, I assume you know what you're doing. And remember, I can't help you with your grades after the fact. I can only help you before. Once you get a grade in my course, that's it. There is no changing of your grades after that. So before you hand in any of your materials, if you are unsure or unclear that you have done it correctly, make sure that you ask me. But I want specifics. Do not just come to me with your entire slideshow presentation and your speech and say, is all of this okay? Can you take a look at all of it and tell me what I did wrong? No, I will not do that. But I will answer any specific question you have. So make sure that you put your questions in the form of a very thoughtful answer that I can answer quickly. All right. I don't want to do this for you. I want to help you with whatever it is you are stuck, right? So when you're thinking, if you have a question and you're not sure whether or not to ask that question, just think to yourself, have I done everything I can to figure this out first? And am I now at a place where I am so stuck that I need instructor help? Okay. And what specifically is that? But really, we should be able to handle this, I would think, pretty easily. So far from the work I've seen from all of you, you've done great. So I don't expect this to be an issue. All right. I hope you all are having a great day, and I miss you. I will see you soon via live web conference. I'm sorry I didn't get to see you on Friday, but hopefully I'll see some of you today on Saturday. If you can't make today's office hours, that's okay. Just shoot me an email and let me know that you want to meet with me either on Monday or Tuesday. I'm happy to, right? We'll have office hours on Wednesday and Friday well, not Friday, but we'll have office hours on Wednesday this week and probably on Tuesday just to make sure if anybody needs anything. But then everything's due on Friday, or Saturday morning. So make sure that you're prepared for that. All right. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.